Hello everyone, my name is Vini, I'm teacher Vini and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to analyze the book Almost American Girl, a graphic memoir written by Robin Ha. Hit it! First of all, it is important to say that the book was written in 1995 and it was published in the same year. The book is a graphic memoir written by Robin Ha, and the name of the main character is Robin. This book is called a graphic memoir because, first of all, is a graphic novel, as you can see, and also is a memoir because it recollects lots of memories of Robin, the author, and is distributed through the story. Moving is hard, and the book is about moving. The book starts in South Korea in 1995, and the main character moves from South Korea to the United States, more precisely in Alabama. Her mom starts a relationship with a man that lives in the United States. So she must move, of course, because she is a minor, and she must live with her mom. Also, she doesn't know her father. Her father got divorced from her mother in a very early age, so she didn't remember him much, and also she doesn't have this paternal figure. So she must change from the United States, from South Korea with her mom to the United States to start a new life there. However, she didn't talk English. She doesn't know how to speak English properly, and the book starts being very interesting in this language part. On purpose, the author writes the book with lots of spelling mistakes because the book is full of dialogues. And in these dialogues, we have to have this impression on how this main character is talking in English. So we have spelling mistakes, we have grammar mistakes, everything on purpose. And one thing that is really interesting, she can't say her name in English. When trying to say her name in English, she fails miserably. And she's very shy. She's a very interesting character because in her mother tongue, she speaks beautifully. She's a very outspoken girl. She knows how to talk to people and she knows how to create presentations in her school. However, in English, she doesn't have the same personality. She tries to say her name, Robin, but she can't. She says lobbing. She changes R to L, and in lots of different words, this pattern remains. The story is painful, yet beautiful, and we see the development of this girl through a very hard immigration process. First of all, she didn't choose to immigrate. And that's why I think this book resonates so much in immigrants, because sometimes you have the choice to immigrate, but sometimes you immigrate because of external factors. Sometimes you are not able to make your own decisions, but when you are able to make that decisions, you face really difficult moments too. In this book, we have two different characters, and that's really important. And these different characters, they mirror each other. We have Robin and her mom. One a teenager, and this teenager, Robin, she doesn't have the opportunity to choose about her future. And we have, on the other hand, her mom deciding everything for her future. So that's a very interesting and important topic of the book, the power of decisions, the power of making decisions. Secondly, one very important topic of this book is the silence. As I told you before, we have this very important connection to English and the difficulties in expressing yourself in a new language, in your second language, for example. And she's not able to communicate herself properly in English. So the book develops lots of really interesting dialogues, situations, and difficult moments for this main character, and sometimes it's really painful. Lots of immigrants suffer from this difficulty in communicating themselves, and the book is really interesting related to this topic. When analyzing the language and the situation that this main character lives, you see the difficulties in adaptation. Also, we have the teenager aspect of that. Lots of self-discoveries, lots of bullying in the high school, and you start seeing a very painful story inside the book. Another thing that is really important to pay attention to is the year that the story is set. The year is 1995. In 1995, we don't have mobile phones with the same technology that we have today. We don't have the fast internet as we know nowadays. So all the communication made by the main character to her friends is through letters. When she writes the letters in South Korean, she can express herself. She can be herself properly. However, when she must communicate in English on a daily basis, she is completely sad, incapable of doing that, and she feels really underestimated because she can't be herself in this new environment, in this new school. She can't make new friends. So that's a very pivotal topic of this story. Finally, she meets art. So she's a South Korean girl. She loves comics. She loves manga. She loves everything related to specific books that she used to read when she was in South Korea, and she wasn't able to have that in English. But one day she discovers a drawing lesson, an extra course that is near her new home, and she starts making friends in this new place, and the art saves her because there she doesn't need to talk. She must draw, of course, because it's a drawing lesson, and she's able to express herself through art. And what's really beautiful, because the entire book, I can show a little bit more of this book. The book's about art too. The book is about communicate herself through images, and she starts communicating herself through drawing. So she's able to draw. This draws in the drawing lesson. It starts to create connection, and she's able to transform her fears of communicate in her affairs. So that's a really beautiful message of the text of the book. If you integrate your affairs to the language that you are learning to speak, the language will flow naturally. The language will flow in a way that you are going to be able to express yourself with difficulties sometimes, but freely, because it's one topic that you know how to talk about. It's one topic that you know how to express yourself, and that's really powerful and really deeply developed through the entire last part of the book. So art becomes her bridge to the old Robin, to this new version of her. Of course, through the book, time passes by, and she starts to make new friends in these drawing lessons. She keeps in contact to her friends in Korea, in South Korea, so she write in a monthly basis to them and receive letters too. So the book presents different ways of communication, and that's one really important topic and part of this book. On the one hand, you have the power of the written communication in your mother tongue. On the other hand, you have this progress of communicating yourself in a new language. And finally, you have the power of art, expressing yourself, communicating yourself through a new type of language, an artistic language. And that is really interesting to see, because sometimes we don't know how to speak properly, but we can express ourselves in a beautiful way, in a different way that common language is supposed to do. Guys, I highly recommend this book. If you are an immigrant, you have to read this book, period. If you have immigrants in your family, please read this book. And if you live in a country where immigrants are coming to live, so almost every country in the world, you have to read this book. It's a very interesting book. Of course, depending on your position, you are going to have a different connection to this book. However, this book will touch you. Be open to connect to this book properly because it's very profound. And one thing that is really touching too is the power of the images. It's really well illustrated, and you can see through the images all the story being narrated. So that's why this book is highly recommended to all levels too. Because for basic levels, you can read this book and really understand through the text, of course, and images. And for advanced levels, you are going to go for deep analysis because we're going to recognize the errors in the language, and the book will be very lively and interesting. You are going to have this plot being developed through this entire process, and you are going to understand all the symbols of the story. So that's really good. Don't forget to subscribe on our channel, like this video, and share if you like this content. Also, feel free to send us a message through here or on our Instagram page. Bye!